Thank you, Corrine. Well, it's a real pleasure to be here with Mike Hilton from HPE today to talk about some of the emerging trends in the enterprise computing space. Why don't we start by talking about the rapidly growing number of internet-connected devices and the enormous amounts of data being gathered by corporations, governments, institutions, and consumers. Literally petabytes of data collected on a daily basis on every aspect of our business and personal lives. Clearly, this creates tremendous opportunities for organizations to leverage this information for competitive advantage and value creation. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what HPE is doing around this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, IoT represents such a unique opportunity. I mean, this concept of IoT, the Internet of Things, where we have so much telemetry, as you point out, in the world around us, where apps on phones, devices in cars, devices in factories, monitors on pipelines or hydroelectric wires, all give us this tremendous amount of telemetry about what's going on in our world. The problem has been, of course, how to organize it, collect it, and curate it. And then the second thing, as you point out, is how do I derive value from it? It's one thing to collect it all, but how do I actually turn it into something that's useful? And so HPE is very focused on a number of fronts. First and foremost is the concept of communications through Aruba and our Aruba business unit. We've built very robust both wireless and wireline networking infrastructure to be able to support these types of activities. The second thing, of course, is having compute and storage at different areas within your organization. Sometimes when we're collecting this data, it doesn't make sense to bring all of the data back to a central repository. Sometimes it makes sense to actually process the data in real time at the edge. And this becomes very important for things where you might be dealing with safety. I don't want to worry about the round trip of having that data go all the way back to some AI engine in the cloud to then give me an answer back, and it might take a half a second or a second to do that. I want to be able to respond in real time, or I also want to be able to respond. You think about autonomous vehicles, I need to be able to respond in a disconnected capacity. I have to have everything at the source of the data, because if I lose connection, I then lose the decision-making support or the analysis support that comes with it. So I think, we're trying to support that whole ecosystem of both communication, storage, compute, processing. The other thing that we're seeing, obviously, is new ways of developing applications. And in particular, you see this new application modernization strategy called containerization. Containerization is going to dramatically change the way in which we build, manage, maintain, and support the application portfolios that use this data, or in some cases even generate the data. But the ability to have application mobility is really critical. And HPE is very involved in supporting that type of activity as well.
It'd be interesting to hear how you and HPE are thinking about, cyber protecting that data, as well as dealing with privacy concerns.
One of the core issues that we see today is it's less about people accessing data, and it's more about what happens when people block you from accessing your own data. And this is the area of ransomware. And HPE is one of the pioneers in root level cyber defense. We're one of the few manufacturers that actually encrypts in the silicon a specific code so that it's not possible for someone to spoof the firmware. You actually have to authenticate at a hardware level before you can even update firmware. So all of these things are part of an investment that we continue to make sure that we're always delivering the highest level of cyber defense capability across our core infrastructure. And we allow that, as we talked about in the previous conversation. That's in our core data center technologies, but as well as in the technologies that we deploy to the edge for our customers.
Be interesting to hear what your thoughts are around how AI can be leveraged in these, data center / edge solutions, and what HPE is doing in that space.
This has been a huge area of investment for HPE. I mean, as you may know, we recently acquired in the last year Cray, which is one of the leading high performance and supercomputer technologies. Prior to that was Silicon Graphics. We've done acquisitions of Determined AI. We've done acquisitions of MapR and Blue Data. These are all technologies that are now being brought into HPE to help do what we describe as deliver in an age of insights. This is really the core message that HPE is bringing to market is this idea that there's now so much data available to us. We really owe it to ourselves and our partners and our customers to bring technologies that allow them to get insights out of that data. In many cases, AI isn't about giving you the answer per se. It's about augmenting human capability by giving people greater insight into what's going on to allow them to make more informed decisions, as opposed to what I think what a lot of people get concerned about is, well, AI is going to make all the decisions for us. Where AI is incredibly powerful is when it's used to extend human capability as opposed to replace it.
Yeah, that's super powerful when you really think about the potential there. Let's switch gears once again and bring this full circle. So the proliferation of devices out there, and all of this data and growing data centers does come at some cost to the environment. Maybe you can share with us HPE's focus in this area and kind of address this conundrum, which is how can we have the anytime, anywhere, data-driven world we want, but have it still be sustainable?
This concept of sustainability is one that I'm really proud to work for a company like HPE that has really committed itself to building a sustainable strategy in what you described as one of the more energy hungry areas of the economy, which is compute and storage and things of that nature. As you alluded to, I mean, the first step is to make sure that at least what you're producing is sustainable. And this is where HPE has had a very strong foundation in what we describe as the circular economy. And that's making sure that first and foremost, everything we manufacture has an ability to be recycled. That's a core tenet of HPE's engineering strategy. When you couple that then with a commitment to make sure that when for a particular customer that technology has reached its useful end for them, we look for opportunities to make it usable for somebody else. And this idea of making sure that we're refurbishing and reusing legacy technology before it's actually disposed of. And then finally, having a very robust technology recycling initiative is all about making sure that the products themselves are sustainable. If we go to the next step, it's about engineering energy sustainability into products. So if you think about our Aruba product line and our wireless access points, we now have technology in the access points that will sense whether or not there's activity in that office environment. And if the activity it declines, we can actually turn down or turn off the access points in order to conserve energy. And then ultimately, where we're really going today is recognizing that many customers have a lot of what are often referred to as zombie workloads running in their data centers. This is where I might have lots of compute capacity or storage capacity, but at any given time, only 50% of it is actually delivering value. Or even worse, many customers go through these long procurement exercises where they'll buy 4 or 5 years worth of infrastructure as part of a capital investment, install it in their data center, cool it, manage it, support it, but only use 50% of it for the first 18 or 24 months of its life. And so now we're, powering and cooling infrastructure unnecessarily. And so part of our whole private cloud capability is giving people technology that they only use what they need, and therefore we only deploy what they use. And that is a really powerful capability.
Well, Mike, it's been great connecting with you and hearing about all this amazing innovation going on at HPE. Might be a good way to wrap up here just by talking about what all of this means for the channel community and how you see the opportunities for channel partners.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a more exciting time for partners in the ecosystem. If you think about it, business today is all run by technology. And so there's an opportunity for us and our partners to engage at all areas of the business, not just in the IT organization. And many of the technologies we talked about today, those are technologies that are applicable to the HR departments, to the sales departments, to the operations departments. There's a tremendous opportunity to increase the scope of activity for our partners inside side of customers. And then more importantly, there's a tremendous opportunity, just as we've done at HPE, expanding our portfolio beyond traditional compute and storage to include containerization and AI and supercomputing, to include the IoT conversation we had and application development resources. All of these are areas that our partners can get involved in now to expand the types of services that they bring to customers. And so, it couldn't be more exciting for us in this industry to see all of this opportunity. And again, not just the opportunity from a technology perspective, but the opportunity across different areas of our customers' businesses.
That's a great way to wrap this session up, Mike. Lots of opportunity for the channel. It's been great connecting with you today, and we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you live sometime in the not too distant future.
Very good. Thanks, Lloyd.